Hello and welcome back to the channel. Nicole, aka Brandy Nicole here, back with another video. And here on the Spiritual Mind channel, we talk about mindset, mental health, and spiritual nutrition coming in very soon. Super excited to share more about spiritual nutrition, and that is literally food and herbs and all of those kind of things. So I'm going to be adding that into our rotation here very soon. But I am actually at my son's tournament and they're on a break, and otherwise if I didn't film this now I wouldn't have a chance to film, so I just decided to go ahead and get us started. So today's video is how to become more spiritual, because that is something that I'm personally working on and kind of developing some practice around. And of course I'm a spiritual person, I'm a person of faith and all of that, but I've really wanted to add some practices or new pieces into my spiritual practice. So I imagine like we're all starting at different places, but I have about 4 or 5 suggestions that can hopefully help you on your journey, as it's really helped me to figure out how to approach in a way that's going to be sustainable, but also how to approach in a way that's actually for the right reasons, you know? So like you can become a spiritual person, you can become a person who's religious as well, but that doesn't mean you're doing it for the right reason, and it doesn't mean that it's going to be sustainable. So then the question is, what is it that we're really seeking, right? So I want to share what I have found helpful and kind of walk you through why I'm making the suggestions that I'm suggesting. So if you're into this, go ahead and stay tuned and let's do this thing. Okay. So the first thing that I feel is really helpful if you want to become more spiritual in your just day-to-day life, because I mean, I think that's the thing, is spirituality and being of faith is a practice. It's not a destination that's just done because you've decided that's how you identify. So I suppose that that concept has been explained to me, at least, as like culturally being spiritual as like a placeholder identity, versus like I am spiritual, here are the practices that I do that help me align with my spiritual beliefs or my faith or what have you. So yeah, let's jump in. So the first thing I feel is really helpful, or has been helpful for me as well, is to observe where you are versus where you want to be. So for me, I feel like I have a very strong spiritual practice. I have a very strong relationship to God and my faith. However, some things that I would like to add into my where I want to be category is to increase Bible study practice, because I have been, I think, wanting to read the Bible, you know, in my adult life, because I used to do Bible study and stuff when I was a kid, but I've been wanting to read the Bible in my adult life for maybe the last 6 months or so, more directly, more consistently. That want has been popping up for me, but I have found that I felt pretty intimidated, so I didn't really know how to start just reading the Bible, because the Bible's not just a few pages, it's a big old book. So just wanting to figure out how to begin is what kind of left me in the place of not moving forward for some time. So where I want to be is able to read the Bible, and where I want to be is to increase my meditation practice. So that's 2 examples of what I'm currently working on and trying to close the gaps on. But just like understanding what are the actual practices that I'd like more of, you know? So I think that's really important, is to consider what are the actual practices that I want to infuse or incorporate into my spiritual practice. I mean, you can also definitely look at what you've already established, because I think there's value in understanding that you are probably doing some things spiritually speaking well. So sometimes people will say, well, I'm not doing this one thing, so you know, I'm not good spiritually. And I don't think that's useful, as much as saying I do these other things really well and I want to add this other thing in, or just here's what I want to work on, you know. So to be strength based or focused on the positives versus deficit based, where you're focused on you haven't done one thing, so now everything about you is, questionable. So that's the first thing, is just observe where you are versus where you want to be. Acknowledge the gap of like getting from there to the other location, from here to there. So the second thing is to decide what you want to implement. So for me, I just gave the two examples of meditation and reading the Bible, like personal Bible study, group Bible study. So that's what I want to implement specifically. So it's really important and critical that you know specifically for you as an individual, your personality and character traits, like what is it specifically you feel would really be the next thing to add into your spiritual practice. So that's really super important, because item number 3 is to then reflect and kind of evaluate why you want to implement those specific things. Why are those specific practices actually of value to you? Because we want to rule out, are you doing this because you feel that you should be doing this? Or are you doing this because you genuinely feel a connection to doing this? And why are you feeling genuinely connected to doing this thing? So for me, working off the examples of Bible study, for me, I'm interested in doing this because it's going to allow me to have a closer relationship to my faith, because I'm now at a specific age and set of life experiences, and I've not read the Bible more thoroughly since I was much younger. So I want to connect and understand the context of reading the Bible now in my present life, and how that may help inform my present life because of the time frame that has shifted since the last time I read the Bible or did Bible study. So I feel like going into Bible study and making that a practice now will benefit my strength and relationship with God, with His Word, and also with being able to see it from new eyes in a way, because, when I was reading before I was a teen or a kid, pretty much. So now I'm an adult woman, and, I think just reading it from where I am now would mean a lot for me, just to feel more connection and appreciation of the Bible, and feeling more aligned and comfortable and connected. So it's just about connection for me to read the Bible, and I feel happy about, the plan to do so. So that's really good. I did find a Bible study group, so I'm excited to check that out. That meets weekly, and I also have started my Bible study practice on my own, so I'm still working out the kinks of like how to create a consistent practice, and it's still pretty new for me, so I don't want to say that I figured it out until I feel like I figured it out. So I'm going to be maybe sharing back once I get to that place. But I would also say it took me a lot to, feel confidence about even cracking the Bible open, because it was pretty intimidating. For me, I really had to do the work of asking myself, why do I want to read the Bible? Because I think a part of what intimidated me was that I don't think I'm probably going to be that type of person of faith who reads the Bible and can just, share all the verses like that. I don't know if that's going to be me. And I see a lot of folks who can do that. So I think that's what intimidated me, is that like, I don't know if I can get to that place. But when I realized that's not really it for me, I'm not trying to treat the Bible in that way where it's a matter of me proving that I have memorized all the verses, because it's not really about that. Then I was fine to like just go ahead and break ground on that. So I don't know why I feel like that's important to say, because I was talking with someone recently about that, and it seemed like I wasn't the only one who could understand, like, there's some folks of faith who kind of rely on, their knowledge of the verses as like being the best Christian or what have you. And I don't know if I can. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Let me focus here. But I'm just saying I was a little bit intimidated to read, because I was trying to figure out if I needed to become that type of person or that type of Christian who could read all the verses and like kind of relies on that. I mean, the Word of God is everything, but I don't want to go into reading the Bible with that as my goal. That's not my personal goal. My personal goal is just to build more connection to God and my faith and relationship and like context in my current life and age and experience and all that stuff. So going back to second example would be meditation. So why am I actually interested in meditating? Like, why is that valuable? It's because I feel more clear. I feel more spiritually clear. Specifically, when I meditate, I feel more open to the Holy Spirit and hearing from Spirit. So I personally feel like meditation is something I want more of because I can utilize my spiritual gifts much better when I meditate. So it's not to like just say I meditate and that makes me cool or like higher self and all that. It's just because I literally can connect more deeply with my spirituality and my relationship with God. So that is something I'm also working on, and it is going good. I'm at 4 or 5 times a week, and it's literally just 10 minutes. So I'm finding the time, because that's the other thing about becoming more spiritual is you need to make the time. You just do. So like if you want to become more spiritual, there's no way to just say, well, I'd really like to, but I'm just so busy. It'll have to wait, because you either make the time or it's just not that much of a priority. And that's the truth. What we make time for is what we prioritize. Those things always go together. What we don't prioritize are the things that we don't make time for because they're not actually a priority yet. Maybe it's something you want to do in the future, but if you say you're too busy, then it's just not a priority, and that's the truth. Shrugging. I've been there too, and I have to be honest, when I realize I'm not making time for stuff that I say is important. Oh, sorry, I thought that was my son because he's still in the gym. When I say that I want to do things and then I'm literally not making the time, I have to tell myself the same thing. Like, sis, it's not a priority. Just admit it. And when I do, I feel better because I'm like, yeah, it isn't. Or it is actually, so I need to make time. So that's a hack for you. If you can talk with yourself like that and be like, hey, is this a priority or is it not? Then you start to make the time because it is a priority if it is a priority. Okay. So the next one, item number 4, to just start a gentle practice, because we don't have to be all or nothing when we are learning something new, when we're creating something new, when we are birthing a new practice for ourselves. So I think it's really helpful and reasonable that you start a gentle practice where maybe you say, okay, I'm just gonna, as I said, break ground. So I'm gonna do this once this week, or I'm gonna do this twice this week, or I'm gonna put this on my calendar, or I'm gonna phone a friend and tell them or ask them if they want to join me in this, or whatever it is, but just to start a gentle practice. Something that really helped me kick off my Bible study practice was literally just researching all of those videos on YouTube telling you how to start a Bible study practice for personal practice, watching Bible study videos so I could just simply see like, oh, okay, I remember how this goes, just to kind of reconnect with it or see what suggestions might exist that would feel most aligned for what could work for me. Like, what could work for me, knowing that my lifestyle is the way it is, which tools would fit best. So some things that so far have worked out really well is just to put Bible study in the morning, have a good location where I can do Bible study, have it clear what chapters and whatnot, like what do I actually want to read, have that organized, and to put it in the same spot. So to have like a consistent time set aside, all of that has helped out. For meditation, I tend to habit stack a little bit. So that's just basically where I pair one habit I'd like to create with a habit I already have. So I know on my work days, I'm going to have breaks between my client sessions, which means during those times is usually where I just make sure to get my 10-minute meditation in. Sometimes I'll even get 2 in, and if I miss it, then I try and do it before bed. So I'll go to bed 10 minutes early and just do a meditation where I'm meditating until I fall asleep. So that helps out quite a bit as far as like making a gentle practice where there's several opportunities to be successful versus just one opportunity to be successful. So I try to create like several parts of the day where I can still achieve my goal, especially if I'm starting the gentle practice piece of it. So these are 4 things that really stand out for like increasing your spiritual practice, or how to become more spiritual, is basically to create the practice and then kind of edit as you go, so that way you can keep building on your practice from there. So I think those are the 4 things I can recommend. I'd love to think of a 5th thing, but I think this would work. Like once you get your gentle practice started, maybe it would be just to simply edit as you go. Because when you get your gentle practice started, you'll get to see like what actually works for you, what's not working well for you, and to maybe lean on the things that are working well for you, maybe opt out of the things that aren't, or figure out how can you edit the things that aren't working well to maybe repurpose and try again. Because sometimes you can find that you can get more traction or progress from something that isn't working by just adjusting what time of day, the duration of how much time you put into it, or potentially maybe it's something that requires like partnership to do with someone else, but like you can still do the thing, it just might have to be done in a different kind of frame or different context for success. So I think that'll be item number 5. We did it. We got item number 5. Okay. And of course, like I am a person who identifies as Christian, actually born again Christian, but I think Christian still makes sense. But even before I came back to, being more active in my relationship with faith, like in the fellowship department, and like really kind of getting deeper in my practice, I've also been spiritual for a long time. So like, even if you're not a person of Christian faith, this can still work on like your spiritual goals as well, whatever they happen to be. But I do want to say, like, my examples are kind of mirroring more of my walk in faith. So I hope that this video has been helpful and useful. I hope that you can enjoy it and find whatever path it is you're looking for your spirituality and your relationship with your higher power or God, or however you break it down and shake it down. But I will look forward to having more videos posted, and I would love any feedback or ideas you have, because I am not sure. I'm kind of getting into one of those windows of time where I'm not even sure what to talk about on the channel. So I have, my ongoing journey of being a born again Christian that I'm, adding into the channel, because that's where I'm at in real life. But also the 75 soft challenges, something I'm working on and still kind of doing what I can with. But I need ideas. So if you have any ideas, please leave them in the comments and I'll be happy to receive them. Please be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Please be sure to turn on your notification bell and subscribe to the channel if you're interested in mindset, spiritual health, mental health, and spiritual nutrition. So take great care. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'll see you next time.